Hello.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna do the same thing that we did yesterday. I'm gonna walk you through doing my best to read Roy's pages. My best, right? I'm not gonna get it perfect. Feel free to follow along and critique me all that you want though. So we're gonna run through today's practicum, and depending on where we're at with time, do you mind if I move this up? Okay, maybe not. They really stapled that good. Where we're at on timetable will depend if I also kind of slide in the resource wheel so you get a demo with that, since we just kind of stepped through it before lunch. So we're gonna get Jessica prepped with her target sequence plan, then you guys can ask any questions you have about it, then we'll be going into practicum. It kind of depends on how long practicum takes us. We could be ending after practicum, or we could be coming back after practicum to cover a couple pieces that he does tomorrow on additional ways to do target sequence planning. So we play this one by ear a little bit today based on how everyone's doing in their groupings, right? If it's a group that's if it's a training team that's getting through their practicum stuff really fast, then we will come back together and do that. But if you guys are really sitting in your practicum, taking the full amount of time with each person, like using it more like a clinical session time frame versus getting through it real quick, then we'll just cover those pieces tomorrow, and that is fine because we have plenty of time in the training. We're not behind schedule on anything. But just so you guys kind of know that there's a couple options getting played out this afternoon. Everyone can see okay, hear okay. Remember, just holler if my voice has a tendency to drop sometimes when I'm actually doing work versus when I'm presenting, and I don't mic. So, ready, girl?
I'm ready.
Okay. So Jessica, as we get started today on our target sequence plan, I'm wondering if you would want to check in and just let us know how secure you feel in this space today. So if you know there's some adjustments or not that we need to make.
I think I feel pretty good. Yeah, I feel pretty secure.
Kind of where would you put that on that up to 5 scale?
I think about a 4.5.
A 4.5. Are there any adjustments that you would like to make that may assist with that to get closer to a 5?
I think the only thing I would say is that door is shut.
Okay, so let me get that taken care of real quick. You're welcome. Now with that adjustment, where would you put that?
I think about 4.85.
4.85.
Yep.
Anything that you think might get you all the way to a 5, or?
If we were in like my colorful office,
Got it.
I think just the fact that we're here in the open, it's probably about as good as it's gonna be.
That's fair, that's fair. So we'll just continue with our target sequence planning then from there, okay?
Okay.
So what issue is it that you would like to address? Kind of what is bringing you into this today, this piece of work?
Yeah, I was thinking about it. So, I am a EMDR basic trainer now.
Yes.
And I've done quite well with that. One of the challenges I've had is like marketing myself more, feeling, and I don't know if I'm afraid that I will if I market more, too many people will come and it'll be overwhelming. I'm not sure, but I have this weird thing where I'm doing quite well. The evals are amazing, but there's something that I can't get myself to like get my website going. There's something that's preventing me from, and I don't know quite fully what that is.
So what emotions and sensations kind of come up for you as we're talking about this right now?
I don't know, I think that you should be I feel like I should be happy about like these things, but I feel anxious. Like it makes me nervous. I feel like the thought of a responsibility to do all these adult things feels very, I don't know, this anxiety provoking.
So this nervousness and this anxiousness that you feel, I'm just wondering, what do you think would be the worst thing that would happen if you were to market yourself more?
Ooh, that's a good question. The thought of like imposter syndrome, which is odd because I do really well with the trainings, but like, I don't know, maybe it's gonna be overwhelming or something. Like that people are coming and it's too much for me and I can't, like I can handle like the 25 and I've had up to 40, but maybe if 50 show up,
Okay.
It's gonna be too much for me.
Okay, so your brain's going kind of like that overwhelming
Yeah.
navigation. Okay.
Like, again, like I said, I feel like there's a good problem to have, you know.
Right.
But for me, the thought of marketing more and doing the website, there's just a fear that, I don't know, it's gonna be a lot for me.
Okay, so I'm gonna bring this up and let me know if this is an okay place to go, but my brain's
Okay.
going back to some of the conversations we had before lunch today.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think any of that kind of stuff of it being okay for you to take up space or pushback that comes when you take up space fully as Jessica
Ooh,
is
Stephanie.
coming into play with this?
Ooh, I think you got me. Okay, yeah, I do think there's some of that. I would think there is probably some of that. Yeah, I do think I try to sometimes to kind of keep myself smaller, because right now I do well,
Right.
but I'm kind of quiet. But I could also, like, a lot of people have reached out for me to do things, and what if I become bigger, but that makes certain people mad at me or something? Yeah.
So more, I'm hearing that pushback from peers, from colleagues
Yeah.
versus concerns really about managing the
Yeah.
size of group and participants.
Yeah, I didn't think about it like that, but yeah, I do think there is coming to the front, being in all eyes, cause it's like all eyes on you, and that's also, right now, like, people are cool, but then as you move up, sometimes you lose people.
Yeah.
They get mad, you know.
So as we're kind of thinking of this concept and just kind of going back a little bit, back and forth around it, what do you think when you're thinking about all this, what it means about you as a person? That negative belief that kind of is.
There's something, I don't know, that there's like a safety.
Yeah.
Like right now where I'm at, it feels very safe.
Okay.
But if I were to step out and really, like, cause I don't really do, like, I'm good at what I do, I really am.
Exactly.
But if I was to really go at it, like 100%, that's scary. That, I don't know, I just feel a little, how might others take that? How might they see me? Would I be a threat? Almost like that. That's kind of, I don't even know where that comes from, but that's how I feel.
Okay. So kind of that vulnerability.
Yeah, it's the vulnerability, it's a risk. I believe it could work, but then there's also what cost.
What will I lose?
What will I lose if I do that?
Okay. So how would we kind of summarize this into language for us to take into your processing as we move into that in our next sessions?
I don't know, before I thought it was just like this anxiety, but I don't know, I just have this fear, like I said, I want to move forward, I wanna do all these things. But I know before, and I think there's also this sense of, like, I had someone say to me, when I became a trainer, like, what makes you so special?
Yeah, that's
Almost
actually
like,
what my brain went
right,
for you.
almost questioning, because did they feel like I got this position only because I'm Black, not because of all the other amazing things about me.
Right.
And I don't know if there's part of me that questions that too. Like, I feel very competent in this, but if I move up even further, you see, that's even more of a threat.
Right.
I don't know. So this feels safe. There's
Okay.
if I stay low, I'm safe.
If I stay low, I'm safe.
Yeah, if I go higher, you risk, I don't know, but just, I don't know, if the thought danger comes to mind, and I don't know why.
So
There's just a big risk
yeah.
to step out even more.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how to say it, but there's something about,
Right.
I think you're right, there is a vulnerability, but for me,
I
it's
think there's another
something,
layer to it too.
I feel like there is something about that safety.
Yeah.
There's just the safety of the risk of the unknown.
Okay. If you don't have a problem, I want us to kind of play with this and
Okay.
tease this out some, so that when we go in to do the work later,
Okay.
like, if we have a little bit more language that
Okay.
solidifies for this. Does
Okay.
that make sense to you?
Yeah,
Okay. Because I'm with you, I hear this vulnerability piece, but then I keep this threat, like if I am me, if I take
Yeah.
up space, then what's the risk to me? Because when I'm a threat to someone comes back at me.
yes, and that has happened to me, and so there's a fear, if I just stay smaller, I'm safer.
Okay, so what if, and I don't know where this lands either, that if it's just this one, that it is okay to be you, right? Is where we
That's
might
how I
wanna
would
be.
like to be.
Right, so it's
I
where we
would
want
like
our
to be there.
adaptive to be.
Yeah, I would like to be able to fully show up, fully, and be fully me in a more authentic way, like just
Mhm.
a fully, yeah, I would like that.
So if our adaptive is about something like that, like I am okay, or it is safe for me to be my authentic self,
Yeah.
or I can be my authentic self.
Yeah,
That might allow us to back the door into really what we're trying to get with this negative belief.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so why don't we look maybe a little bit at what this adaptive,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
What we want it to be, because we kind of got some of these examples coming into play, like
Yeah.
what's holding you back with this marketing, right?
Yeah,
What's making me shrink and be smaller than who I really am?
yeah,
So if we get that adaptive, that might
Okay.
really help us navigate this, solidify the negative belief language.
okay.
So for you, what language really resonates about where you wanna be when you're looking and thinking about this stuff after our processing sessions?
Oh, I think that's it, the being able to be, that it be safe to be me, like my full, who I am, that is okay for me to be that in an authentic way. And that be okay.
So it is safe for me to be,
I am maybe safe to be, it is safe, or I am safe to be authentically me.
Okay. Just give me a second to write that down, cause I don't wanna lose it. I am safe to authentically be me. Okay, so if that is our destination,
Mhm.
maybe we can get into our language about really how we're encompassing the opposite of that right now.
Yeah, I don't
right?
think that, and I think that's it, that sense of it not being safe to be
Yeah.
fully authentic. Like I can be me a little bit, but if I really just show up as my whole self and unmask and just,
Yeah.
this is who I am, yeah, that creates maybe some dangers, I think.
Okay. So maybe like I am unsafe being me?
Yeah, and authentic, like fully,
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I am unsafe,
or it's not safe to be me authentically, I don't know.
I am unsafe being my authentic self.
I think it's not safe to be me authentically. Or I am not safe to be me authentically, something like that.
Okay. I think we've got something here that's good enough for starting, and as
Okay.
we process, you've done this enough, you know, language shifts and can
Yeah.
become more authentic, your language.
Okay.
But thanks for bearing with me on that, because I think it required some of us teasing that out a little bit, right? So, as we're moving into this then, can you tell me one or two times when you've experienced the negative cognition and its emotions and sensations? I know you mentioned the one where someone had stated to you about what makes you so special.
Yeah,
So is that kind of more present day, or is that something a little older for you, do you think?
that's more present focus.
Would you like that one on here? Or are there other ones that stand out maybe a little bit more significantly for you?
Oh, I think that one does it. I think, I'm trying to think, thinking. There was a time where, I was working at this place and I wanted to be a manager, and they were gonna make me a manager, but then they didn't. And so I decided I wanted to like go out on my own.
Okay.
And the owner of the practice was basically like coming at me like, basically like, I thought you were gonna work for me.
Right.
And my response was like, I kinda wanna go on my own, but then it became like this, almost like your competition and I'm gonna come after you basically.
Yeah.
So as long as I was be willing to work for them and bring in a lot of money, I was okay. But then the minute I wanted to step out I went from being family to a threat.
Okay. I'm just write a couple of little quick things here so I
Yeah.
remember when we go in, right? Okay. Anything else you want in the present day kind of that stands out where you're like, probably should have that one on there?
So I remember I had one of my first jobs I got hired at, and I was a licensed marriage and family therapist associate and a licensed mental health counselor associate. And I guess the supervisor had kind of shared with some of the other employees, you know, I got this person coming in, Jessica Crunkleton, and they're duly licensed. But I don't think they expected me as a black woman to walk in. So when I come in, hey, I'm Jessica Crunkleton, the response, a lot of them were happy. A couple of them was like, you're Jessica? And I said, yeah, Jessica Crunkleton, duly. I said, yes. Well, you know, they made it sound like you were such and such. And it was almost like this sense of, I didn't, to them, appear how they thought I should.
It didn't match the image they had in their head.
And they were looking at me like up and down, and it just felt like almost like this, the way they looked at me was almost a threat. Like I just felt this sense of, like, who do you think you are?
Right.
Like, to show up, and I don't know, it just felt uncomfortable.
Similar to that language that you got earlier with someone else, like what makes you so special?
What makes you,
Right.
and maybe
It's
that
very
one should be
similar.
on there,
The
maybe
same-
that one should be on there.
Same kind of just language or message being received.
Yeah.
So as you're thinking about these things, and we're talking about this,
Yeah.
what are you noticing in your body right now?
Just a lot in my chest, like excitatory, like in my stomach, like in my feet, almost like I wanna run a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, so can we let for a couple seconds, I just want us to see if we can get some earlier memories that kind of
Okay.
resonate that's pushing and driving these things a little bit. So just let your brain kind of relax, and we're gonna let it gently just float back, without pushing it, without forcing it. To kind of the earliest time in your life when your body remembers feeling this way around this theme that we came up with for that negative belief.
Two things stand out.
Okay.
Number one, I was about 13. And my grandmother she had these foster children she would take in. Now I'm biologically her grandchild, but we would go to the same school, and I guess like one of the foster girls, she didn't want me to tell people that that was my biological grandmother. And I wanted to be friends with her. She was a bit older than me. And so I wanted to kind of make friends with her, but I felt a little threatened by her. Like me coming, I think because that's my biological grandmother, but I'm trying to be friends with her. But I remember she liked the color, I love red, I've always loved red. But when I came, it was very clear her favorite color was red. So it almost felt like my favorite color couldn't be red. So then I just started saying my favorite color was black, because when I said that, she was okay. But I couldn't be red, like we couldn't have the same favorite color because it was a threat.
Couldn't have similarities.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had to pick black, even though that really wasn't my favorite color. So I remember getting black stuff, but I just did that so that I could get along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the second one that comes up, when I was younger, I had a cousin, and we were probably about 7, 8.
Okay.
And like I was real close to her and her family, so it was almost like a second mom to me. And I remember there was a time that, you know, kids are just kids, and we're hanging out, I'm spending a lot of time over there. I remember I was starting to call her mom, like, you know, we just were, and it seemed to be okay. But then one day she came to me and she said, you know, my daughter told me, like my little cousin said, I guess she didn't like that. She didn't like me calling her mother mom.
Got it.
And so her mother wanted me to stop calling her mom because her daughter didn't like it.
Got it.
And I wanted to be good friends with her daughter and with the mom too, so I just kind of stopped doing it. And even though I know like she's not my mom, I was just kind of kidding around with it, you know, it just was, but it was just like this threat, like, you've got to stop calling me that because she's upset about it.
So that's kind of like a betrayal on two levels.
Yeah.
It sounds like to me in that example, right?
Yeah.
We have, here's my cousin that we're cool, we're tight. Kids call each other's parents moms or aunties moms and things like that. But then here's also the adult that I think maybe might have viewed as someone who kind of protects and has that kind of parental
Yeah.
connection of where you're supposed to protect me, just say, you're over here because this is what she wants.
Yeah, and I just had there's one earlier that I thought about. When I was about 3, my aunt she just had 2 boys, and so I was the little girl that they always wanted. And so I would spend a lot of time with them, and like they did a lot for me, her and my uncle. And I was like their little girl. I used to go over their house all the time. But then my uncle was going in the military, and he gave custody of his 2 little girls. He wanted her to kind of take custody of them. And I remember her telling me, you know, you're not my little girl anymore. They are.
Yeah.
And it felt like this, just like I was replaced, just like that. Just I went from, you can come over a lot, to, we just don't have time for you anymore. Like, and I was trying to think, did I do something wrong, or like, and it just felt, that safety was just, I remember her just telling me that, like, you know, basically like, you're not my little girl anymore.
Right, and at 3, right, our worldview is things happen because of me.
Right, exactly.
So really, that child's perspective is going to be so much entrenched that what did I do?
Yeah, what did I do wrong? And I remember years as time passed thinking, is there something about those little girls that was better than me, or like, what did I do wrong that that she no longer wanted me to be there?
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's one where you can even say, reflecting back, there were times where I could see how that was moving forward in my life with me. That
absolutely.
Message. Okay. Anything younger than that, or you think that's kind of where our touchstone is going to be, our earliest memory for this?
Just me being born. I remember my mom saying, she was in the military, National Guard, and now my grandmother said this is not true, but my mother claims getting pregnant with me is what forced her out of the Guard, and it changed the whole trajectory of her life. If she hadn't gotten pregnant, she would have stayed and had like this whole course in the military. But just me being born, my conception, like, screwed her career. That's it.
That's pretty early. Yeah. How are you doing now that we kind of covered past and present? I just want to check in to make sure.
I think it's like emotional, but I feel like these are things I've thought about. Never thought about them in this context until we're sitting here, but I've thought about these things before.
So you're feeling okay to proceed, or do you want to do a regulatory skill?
All right.
Okay, so we now just want to kind of look at those future things, right? To get those kind of mapped out. So as you're thinking of this negative belief that we've kind of, I know we're getting better language for, but as soon as I said I know it's resonating with the concept, can you tell me about some times in the future when you may feel the same way, when you may feel this coming up and impacting you? So this belief getting activated by future events for you.
If I was to, like, I've thought about doing advanced trainings. If I do an advanced training, a lot of people show up. Let's say one of my friends from the play therapy community is upset with me because it's like, people are coming to your thing and not mine or something.
So really other trainers maybe having negativity around it because they're jealous.
Yeah, and I want to be friends with them, you know. But it's almost like the fear of my success could come at a cost.
At the cost.
Yeah, which it shouldn't be like that, but that's my fear.
Right.
If I was to get bigger.
Kind of who will still be there with me.
Yeah, who will still, like, I know my good friend Rebecca will be there and a few of the others, but I don't know what's gonna happen beyond that. Yeah.
Okay, so we've kind of got our target sequence plan pulled together, right? Okay, so my question is, because we just mapped out the target sequence plan. So let's pause. Any questions or thoughts as you were following along or just thinking about that you have for Jessica and I? Just so you know, we did not script this at all. This is not what, I don't know, is it where you thought we were going today?
No.
No, it's just where we ended up. So, any thoughts or questions on the target sequence plan? I kept the script as much as possible, But when someone asks for how do we navigate when a client just doesn't smoothly go somewhere, you got to actually see some of that, because we still don't have the language we really need yet, I don't think.
We're getting there.
We are going to get there. We'll get there by the time we're done processing, right? And we know that. So we have good enough negative belief, we have good enough adaptive belief, but you saw we had a lot more conversation.
Yeah.
Trying to tease that out than just going through that list.
And for me, it felt right in my body.
Mm-hmm.
Like these connection points, I never, until we did it like
Yeah.
this, but it just, I don't know, something is landing for me internally.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we know it's resonating, we just don't have the right verbalization for it yet. Right? Any questions or thoughts? Yeah.
Have you ever had somebody struggle with finding like a touchstone belief?
Pretty regularly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that like an issue at all, or?
Like, I'll play around with it for a little bit,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you do the same, Jessica, so you
I
can
do
speak on
the
it as
same.
well. But if we don't get it, I'm just like, that's okay. If there's more there, it will come as we do our work.
Mhm.
But what it tells me is I'm gonna go slower doing my work, because there's probably stuff there, right? So I'm not gonna go in and just start like doing a 60-minute session of processing with somebody. I'm gonna step them in, see how it's digesting with their brain and their body across a couple sessions before I expand into like a full processing session, is typically how I try to navigate that. Okay, Haley was just stretching.
And I think, I've done over 10 years of therapy, some EMDR stuff and talk therapy for years. Not on this, but this is the first time this has come up, so this has been interesting. But when I was thinking about like the earlier, you kept asking me, and I was thinking, can I say this? Should I say that? Is it even connected? I don't know. Maybe I should. And then when I said it, it felt, in the way we talked about it, it feels right. Even though I'd never thought about it like that, but I think you have to be ready to like say things like that out loud, because that's not easy to think that my birth,
Right.
shifted things from my mom's whole life.
Right, which is the importance of that, often that extended phase 1 and 2. So we have time to really have a therapeutic relationship where, if I don't know, but I know this person's not gonna judge me, or I know this person's going to receive what I have to hear, so it can land even when I'm concerned about saying it. And that happens often with negative beliefs. I think that happens with touchstone memories very regularly, that sometimes a person's like, they have stuff, but they're just like, that's not for you yet, type of thing, right?
And you also have to remember too, I'm from the South, and I'm also African American. And typically, very matriarchal family system, we don't talk about the things that happen inside our home, outside. So me having even these conversations is kind of a violation of that
Cultural norm.
Yes, in those kind of ways, and even though it's something that matters and has had a profound impact on my life, I'm thinking now more than I thought before, but yeah.
We definitely don't tell outsiders our story.
No.
Because if outsiders hear our stories, we may lose those people, right? There's always a threat of social services and places like that becoming involved.
And also the family name is guarded.
Yes.
You don't
Protect
talk
the
about
outside image,
family, honor the mother and the father. You don't, especially the mothers who have sacrificed so much as single mothers, like you can't say anything, and what will people think about our family with what you're saying? How will they look at us as a family?
Right. And the level of disrespect that is perceived as.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So there's a lot of those pieces coming into play. And in my office, we would have spent more time actually kind of having conversations about some of those pieces. I wouldn't have done full processing on any of them, but there would have been like, let's sit with that for a little bit if we need a little bit more space as we're giving language to it. But normally that's still only like maybe 5-10 minutes on each of those. It's nothing more than that. But for sense of wanting to get you guys into practicum and stuff, I'm like, I'm not spending as much time on that. So, other thoughts, questions?
Do you not talk about emotions at all then at this point?
I did at the one point when I asked what was going on with her when she gave the presenting symptomology, but only because that was the only place where it's at. We will start getting more into emotions when we go into phase 3. So here it's just like, what are you coming in to deal with? What emotions, sensations do you have around that? That's it. Because if I go more into that, she's gonna get activated, right? So I'm not trying to get her too in touch with that. I just want language for it. I want prefrontal cortex around it. But I don't want the nervous system going offline and taking over with that. So I'm kind of keeping that out in this, just mapping out our sequence plan right now. I'm just getting her treatment plan together is all we're doing with this piece of the work.
And when you when you really start asking, like, when we were getting more, like, it's all here, like, y'all
Mhm.
can't, if you could look inside, like, it's all there.
Yeah.
I'm
Breathing was
compartmentalized.
changing and all
but I
this was
can feel it,
shifting,
and it's like, ooh.
Yeah, there was a little bracing at times where she
Yeah.
pulled back like this. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, we hit it.
So it's definitely here,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I get the sense though that like already your brain is like spontaneously telling you the stories, and then if
Yeah.
you can have the relationship and
Yeah.
the attunement and the trust, like trust where what stories your brain is telling you, those are the important ones.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, I don't even know if this is related, but it just came in my head when she kept, and I'm glad she prompted me, cause sometimes I don't do this enough any earlier than that, anything, I think that's important to do, cause I probably would've stopped at 3 and wouldn't have made that connection with that early
Yeah.
one.
And here it really could be, if we spent more time in this space, this neural network really could get some kind of epigenetic stuff,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
But again, we're here and that's probably a little bit more vulnerability than what we want in the group practicum video at that. Cause she didn't even mention like, oh, filming might have me at my 4.85. Just the door, not filming.
That actually is okay, cause I do a lot online, so that, for
Yeah.
me, it was just the door, I don't
Someone
know.
could walk in and your back
Yeah.
is kind of exposed to the door too, which
Yeah.
is a big vulnerable piece to
Yeah.
keep in mind, so. Okay, any other questions or thoughts with that? I don't know, okay, where are these? 132. Okay, I'm not gonna have us do Wheel of Fortune, if that's okay.
Alright.
I'm not gonna have us do Wheel of Fortune, just because I want you guys to be able to get in practicum, get set up, not feel rushed in that today, cause I know yesterday people were feeling a little time crunch, and I don't want that for you all. Cause for me, practicum is where you get the most, it's where we're putting it into practice and kind of really getting things shifting and moving. But if I was gonna do this with her at the end of a session, really we would just put that negative belief in the center, or that concept that we have. Actually, no, I'm gonna put the adaptive belief in the center and the concepts we have. Let me get my brain online for you guys. And then we would pull out examples of where she's, wait a minute, we don't have our target sequence planned out.
Yeah, you didn't finish the other part.
Where
You
did it go?
my adaptive
This is
side.
what happens, okay. I didn't do adaptive, so we're gonna go back in and do adaptive.
I was thinking about
So
that, but
funny.
I need to be the client, so.
You could have kicked me, my clients would have. Oh my gosh, my 76-year-old would have been late, and she's like, normally, you would be asking me this, Stephanie. She tells me that all the time. It's because I had the star sheet in the way. Okay, so we have our negative mapped out. We're now gonna go back in and pretend like we didn't take an infomercial for debriefing a little bit, okay? So Jessica, now that we've gone ahead and kind of got the negative sequence plan kind of targets and stuff mapped out, is it okay if we kind of go back to that adaptive statement
Yes.
that we came up with, which is, I am safe to be authentic, I am safe to authentically be me.
Yeah.
And when we're thinking about that, are there any experiences that kind of that resonates true for when you were in those moments?
That it was safe to be authentically me.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm training,
Okay.
like today when we were talking about like cultural, different things,
Yeah.
presenting, sharing my story,
Okay.
that feels safe
Good.
in the training.
Okay, so I'm actually gonna combine this a little bit here. So as you're noticing all that,
Yeah.
what do you notice in your body as you're talking about that experience?
The word that comes to mind is like grounded.
Grounded, okay.
Like my feet feel like they want to run before they feel anchored.
Okay,
Like my chest, it just seemed like something went,
okay.
yeah,
And is there emotion that you would connect with this?
joy.
Joy. Could we for just a second, just have you take a couple slow taps?
Okay.
Let that resonate and sink in, and just go ahead and stop when you're ready.
Yeah, that was it.
Good. Any others that come to mind?
My wedding day.
Okay.
Yeah, getting married, saying I do. I just remember walking down the aisle to my husband and who was gonna be my husband. I just felt my brother was leading me, and it was like this life-changing moment, and it just felt, I was totally me, just
Perfect.
showing up, felt very beautiful, authentic, and yeah, it was a beautiful day.
Perfect. Okay. emotion or other emotions coming into play with this one?
I think there's joy, there's happiness,
Okay.
love, peace.
You know what I'm gonna ask you to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go for it. Got any more that are coming in?
I think yesterday when I got the thing that I'm an EMDRIA, I'm gonna be on the board of directors.
Okay.
And that was a big risk, cause that was me showing up authentically,
And putting yourself out
putting
there.
myself out there. And even if they would've said no, I still, just the fact that I did it, cause I've never done anything,
Yeah.
you know, so, but when they said, yeah, congratulations, and we had the moment in the car, we're like, ah!
Weren't we though?
Yeah, so that was just
Okay.
like man, this is amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that one, how is it manifesting in the body?
Excitatory, just joy, just, yeah.
Okay.
Like I wanna feel, instead of feeling small, I feel big. So if I was in my sand tray, this would be like a big one, like where you just kind of put your arms out, this is just me.
Yeah.
Like a cheer kind of
Right.
thing, yeah.
So let's do our bilateral with that, and if you
Yeah.
want, have your arms up to do your bilateral, right? And just kind of move them this way. Get that movement in there too. Whew. Okay, any others you wanna put on?
I think that's pretty good.
That's really my adaptive now. Now we really did the whole target sequence plan.
There we go.
Which in all honesty doesn't throw me off that much because sometimes in my office, we just get through like the negative stuff in a session and we have to come back in and regroup and do the adaptive in the next session. So, questions on that? Because I decided we weren't doing wheel of adaptive resourcing per se, but did you see how we pretty much did it anyways? We just didn't draw it out on the wheel. Just as she named them, I went through those phases, right? Okay, where you're noticing how you notice that in the body, what is the emotion language you want to give to that, tap it in. That's really what we're doing with that wheel. We just didn't do it on the wheel. But she had such a visceral response shift when she gave me those. I'm like, we are not missing this opportunity. Can't do that.
Yeah, it really did, like I felt when we were doing it before I did, I felt like something in my feet, like a tingling. Because when I was younger, I used to run away a lot, I was a runner.
Right.
And I felt like a tingling, it's like, I'm okay, I'm just here with Stephanie, but there was something.
The nervous
as we
system,
were-
right, your nervous system
Yeah.
was responding to those memories.
Yeah. But then when we did the other one, it just was like this, kind of this.
Ground and
settling.
anchor, getting your ventral.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that felt really good.
Do you guys have a sense what to do in your practicums today? Or no? Okay, y'all need to wake up. Yes, so with the triangles, that's really just the worksheet page. Everything that I wrote notes on gets slid over here. So we can go through Jessica's together to see if we've all are coming up with the right stuff, right? So what was Jessica's presenting concern? Everyone remember what she said? Marketing, yeah. And so that's the presenting issue. And roughly, what did we land on for the negative cognition? We'll see if they give us better authentic language.
It's not safe to be authentically me.
Oh my gosh, these guys have good memories. And what are some of the negative memories we had with that?
She remembers someone telling her that her being born wrecked mom's career.
The early, yeah.
That would be our touchstone. Very good. I have my glasses on to write these things down.
You couldn't have your own favorite color.
Mm-hmm.
You're compared to your cousin.
Yep,
Her aunt telling her that she's no longer a baby girl.
yep.
Not being able to call cousin's mom.
Others that came up?
So, someone telling you, or asking what makes you so special. Or
Yep.
like,
That was a present day one, yep.
you walking into that practice and people sort of being like, oh, it's you.
Yeah, like you're Jessica Crunkleton, you?
No,
They
you're
didn't believe me.
Jessica.
They did not believe that was my name.
And then a previous boss that you worked at a practice.
Yes.
You were family and then all of a sudden you were.
When I wanted to
Yep.
go on my own, I was a threat. Yep.
Right, and those were the present day ones, those last two that we just gave, and what did she give us for the future?
Doing an advanced training.
Yep. Okay, and so what are the present day adaptives that we got?
Marriage,
Marriage, yep,
the board,
the board,
The wedding day?
yes, we have wedding,
Yesterday.
yes.
oh, today.
Giving to the culture day.
Yeah. We're talking
Yeah.
about
Training.
Mm-hmm. That is her target sequence plan. Oh, wait, I didn't ask you guys, what was her adaptive belief? Who remembers that?
Authentically me.
Mm-hmm. They were paying attention.
They were.
That's how you fill that out. It's really through the conversations. Like, some people will sit with their client and do it like this. I have conversation, then at my end of my session, I take my notes or my memory usually, plug it in, and then at the next session or the session where we're gonna go into processing, I'm gonna say, so this is our first time for processing. So can I just recap what we had? And I check things. I check to make sure that negative, like, here's what we had for your negative belief. Does that still work, or is there different language that's come in? We check those memories. Are those still the right things we have, or is there something else that's come up that you might want to add or replace something with? I do the same for adaptive, and then we pick our entry point. So I don't usually go over like this sheet with them, mapped out this way, until I'm doing that recap before we go into processing. How do you do it, Jessica?
I usually do it kind of at the end, so I would have did this, and then before we wrap, if we had time, I'm gonna go back through kind of like what you did with them, make sure I got it about approximate days and all that stuff. And then offer container a peaceful place at the end if needed.